Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate Dreams animation tutorial. This is the animation that we will be creating in today's video. We did draw this first in Procreate, so if you want to follow along with the drawing before you start on the animation today, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out that tutorial. It's the one post that I posted right before this one. So we draw it in Procreate first, and then we will animate it here in Procreate Dreams. If you don't want to do the drawing yourself, that's totally fine. I have included my layers that you can use to import into Procreate Dreams to get started on the animation. So if you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials and now Procreate Dreams tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I also offer extra tutorials over on Patreon. That's linked in the description below if you'd like to check that out. And before we get started today, you either need to have your Procreate file ready to go, where I will show you how to export your drawing for Procreate Dreams so that we have all the right layers to work with, or you can download my layers, which I have linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. It will just download as a .procreate file. Just save it to your files on your iPad somewhere to access later when we get Dreams open and going. So at the beginning of the video, I also go over how to set up our stage and our timeline and everything. So if you are downloading your file from Procreate, stick around to watch the very beginning of the video. If you are using my file, skip ahead to this timestamp where we jump right into Dreams and get started. Okay, so in order to get our file ready, we are going to be deleting a few layers and condensing a few layers. So what I like to do is make a duplicate of the original. So I still have my original here with all of my layers for each number and our background stuff. Then if you click select and click on it and click duplicate, it'll make a copy. So that's what I have here. So this is just a copy of the whole file. So now in our new copy, we can go in and we are going to keep our top layer. Our second layer should be our flares. We're going to delete that layer. And then in each number, we're going to delete the shadow because this multiply layer doesn't work when it's flattened. So we're just going to delete the shadow on each one and then flatten the group. So then at the top, click on it and click flatten. Next one, delete the shadow, click on it and click flatten. Delete the shadow, flatten, and delete the shadow and flatten once more. Okay, and then our very last layer on our layer menu is the glows in the background. We're going to redraw those in Dreams so that we can animate them separately. So we are going to delete that layer as well. So all we have are our 5 layers here. So our numbers and our little twinkles in the sky. So once those are all set, just click the gear icon, share, and share it as a Procreate file. Save it to your files. Title it. Title mine 2024. And click save to wherever you want to save it. Then we'll just switch right into Dreams and we'll be on our home screen. Okay, and now we can create our new dream. So let's click the plus icon here. These are the different formats that are available. Let's switch it to square and then go ahead and click empty. Now first we just need to make a few adjustments to it. So on this dream button here, dream whatever number yours is, click on that to open up our properties. And under properties, we're going to leave frames per second at 24. We're going to set the duration to 10. And then we're going to change the width and height to both be 3000. So I double tap it, bring up my keyboard, 3000. Double tap the next one, 3. Double tap it or just delete it and then 3000. Then under stage, that's good. Under timeline, let's set it to loop. That will just be good for when we go to preview it. It's not an actual looping animation. Otherwise, that's good. Let's go ahead and click done. And then now we need to just set our background color first. So let's click on this time button here, click background color, and set it to a nice deep black towards the bottom of our color wheel. Okay, then we're going to insert our file now. So let's click our plus icon and click File. Find our file wherever we saved it, our .procreate file. Click Open. Okay, and it should pretty much fill our screen. It might not go all the way to the edges because we don't have anything in the very background. It just goes as far as our stars go. So that looks good. Let's see, I'm gonna zoom back through to 10 seconds. And then this is our track with our drawing on it. We're going to hold on that and click Convert Layers to Tracks. And now we have a group that if we open it up, it has all of our layers separately like so. So all of our numbers and our stars at the top. So that looks good. So now the first thing that we're going to do in our animation is add some blurry background effects. So to do that, we'll just go ahead and add a new track. So click the plus sign and click track. And then let's drag that to the bottom of our tracks here. Okay, so if we hold on and try to drag it down, it might not let you. If we just minimize our group, then try it again till we get a track at the bottom. So get a track at the bottom there. It's a little buggy still sometimes. Okay, so on our new track, just make sure that we're set to the very beginning with our playhead here. And then click our draw button to switch into draw mode right next to our plus sign here. Okay, if we click our time stamp here, make sure that onion skin is turned off. So it should say show onion skin. We want to hide the onion skin. So this is what it should look like. Okay, we're going to just draw some kind of blurry circles in the background, and then we'll kind of make them alternate with each other throughout the animation. So we are just on our soft brush under the airbrushing category. Our opacity is set to 50% on the brush here, and then our size is also set to about 50%. The first color that we're going to use is going to be a gold color, so just grab a gold color from the image by holding down somewhere in this gold area so you get a nice light gold. Not the really, really bright, like yellowy white color, but the like more orangey color. Okay, and then I'm just going to start like kind of off the stage and just kind of draw a nice good little circle, maybe go over it a couple times, make it pretty bright, but nothing too crazy. I'll just do a few of those kind of going off the stage at different areas. Okay, then on our timeline here, we only drew on the one frame, so we just need to hold on this drawing and click fill duration, so it fills all the way to the end. Add a new track right above that, and we'll do the same thing but with rose gold now. So we're still in our draw mode, same brush, same everything, just grab a rose gold color and do the same thing, just kind of in a different area maybe for each one. Something like this. And they look very, very bright right now, but we'll never let them get to full brightness. So this is just kind of our starting point. So then same thing, hold on this on the timeline and click fill duration. So it fills to the end. And now we can do the alternating. So let's start with our gold. So let's set our playhead there. Click this movie button and then click filter and then click opacity. So our opacity will change between our keyframes. So let's first set our opacity on the gold to 20. We'll never go all the way down to 0, but let's set it to 20. So that set a keyframe at the very beginning, and that's where it will start. Then every 2.5 seconds will change. So let's go down to 2.5 seconds on this little opacity bar here. So you'll see this blank opacity spot. Click on that to create another keyframe there. And at that point, we will set our opacity up to maybe 75 to 80, somewhere in there. Maybe I'll just do like 70. Then another 2.5 seconds, so down to 5 seconds. Tap to make another one, set it back to 20-ish, and then 7.5 seconds again to like 70 to 80, and then at 10 seconds at the very end, one more, back down to 20. We'll do the exact opposite on the rose gold. So set our playhead to the beginning, tap the movie button, and click filter, opacity. So we will do the opposite. So we'll start at like 80 to 70%. Then we'll just follow the same timeline. So then at 2.5, we'll tap to create another one, set it to 20. At 5, we'll make another one, back up to 80. At 7.5, another one down to 20. And at the end, another one back up to 80. And then if we start at the beginning, we will see them change. So as you can see, they change really quickly. We don't want that. We want it to be a very gradual fade in and out. So they change very, very quickly right now. And that is because of the easings. So if you hold on this opacity bar and you click set easing, just set easing, you'll see this top one. This first one is set to ease in and out. So that means it starts slow, speeds up, slows down. We want it to be linear. So we're going to hold on this line and click set all easings to linear. Hold on the other one for the other color, same thing, set it to linear. And now if we do it again, it's much more gradual, just kind of fades in and fades out with each other. So I think that looks great. So now we can just move right on to our numbers. So we're going to have each one come in from a different part of the screen. So the first two will come in from the left, the 0 from the top, the other 2 from the bottom, and the 4 from the right. So we'll just do a very similar process for each one. They're going to stagger. So one will come in, then the next, then the next, and then the next. So let's find our top left 2. So it should be our third layer down in our group here. So make sure your group is open. Click the little arrow to expand it if you need to. But our third layer, our third number down here. So if we click out of our draw here, and then if we tap our 2, it should highlight it, and now we can move it around. So this is the 2 that we're on. The first thing we're going to do before we do anything is just tap on it and move it straight to the left, kind of keeping it in line with where it was until it goes off the side of the stage. Then we are going to set our playhead to the beginning on this track, click the movie button, move, and scale. So it's going to start at 0 seconds. That automatically added a keyframe there where it's off the stage. We're going to say it takes 1.5 seconds to come in. So down this line on 1.5 seconds, you'll have an empty move and scale button there. Tap it to highlight it, and that sets a new move and scale keyframe, and we will drag it back in to where it needs to be, right over our 0, just a little bit on the edge there. So right about there. If we tap from the beginning, let's go ahead and play it, and it comes in. So from one keyframe to the next, Procreate Dreams just decides what needs to happen to get us there. Okay, so the easing is again set to linear, and this time we want to change it back to ease in and out. So hold on this move and scale, click set all easings, and ease in and out. I think that looks better. Let's start from the beginning again. I think it looks better to have it just like zoom in and then slow down a little bit. But you can mess with them if you would like to. You can set it to like ease in. That's where it starts slow and then it goes really fast. So mess around with them if you'd like to, but I'm going to set mine to ease in and out. Okay, so our first 2 is done. Let's move on to our 0, so that should be right below it. Same thing, before we do anything, just select the 0 and drag it straight up off the stage, keeping it pretty in line with right where it was. Then we set our playhead to the beginning on our 0 track, tap our movie button, move, and scale. It automatically sets a keyframe at the beginning where it's off the top of our stage. So this is how we're going to stagger them. So then at half a second, we're going to go down the line a little bit. And at half a second, we're going to tap to make another keyframe where it's still off the top of the stage. Again, it takes 1.5 seconds to come in. So at 2 seconds, go there on our move and scale, tap to add another keyframe, and this is where it's in. So drag it back in where it needs to be, next to our 2 here. Then if we go to the beginning and play it again, they both will come in like so, one right after the other. But that is why it's important to add our keyframe at the half second where it's still off the top of the screen, because if we didn't, it would just go from 0 to 2 seconds. It would start moving right away. So adding that keyframe at half a second where it's still off the top of the screen just makes it like stay there until it can start moving towards our 2 seconds. So if we were to like delete this keyframe at the half second, you'll just see it just starts coming in right away with our 2, and we don't want that. So that is why we set that there at half a second. So we're going to do the same thing for each of the other numbers now. So let's go to our next 2, the top number on our numbers here. Okay, same thing. Before we do anything, let's just tap on it and drag it straight down off the screen, keeping it in line with where it was till it's off of our stage. Again, set our playhead to the beginning. Tap the movie button, move, and scale. It automatically sets a keyframe at 0 where it's off the bottom, and now we need to stagger it another half second from our 0, so it will start at 1. So let's drag down our keyframe to 1, tap to create another keyframe there where it's off the bottom, and then again 1.5 seconds later, so at 2.5 seconds it will be in. So 2.5 seconds, tap to create a keyframe, and drag it up there right next to our 4. So it'll cover our top 2 a little bit, maybe overlap our 4 a little bit as well. Okay, let's just go ahead and do our 4 and then we'll play them all at the same time. So let's just switch down to our 4 layer, and this one will come from the right. So let's, before we do anything, just drag it straight off the right side of the stage, keeping it in line. Set our playhead to the beginning. Movie button. Move, move and scale. It sets one at 0, then we need to set the next one at 1.5, where it's still off the side there. So 1.5, tap to create a keyframe, and then at 3, it will be in. So at 3, tap to create another keyframe, and drag it back in right next to our 2, keeping it in line, like so. So then if we go to the beginning and play it again, they should all come in together, right, one after the other, very nicely. Okay, so that looks great, nice and synchronized. So before we add our like shine that goes across and our sparkles, since we're going to have to add those as new layers, let's just do our twinkles in the background. Since we have that layer already, we just need to mess with it. So find our twinkle layer, should be the one right under the top of our group, above all of our numbers. Okay, so they are going to start completely invisible, and then they will fade in right about when our like 4 comes in. So maybe starting at 3 seconds, they'll fade in. And then on this track, let's start at the beginning with our playhead. Click our movie button, and this time click filter and opacity again. So let's set our opacity at 0 at the beginning. At 3 seconds, we still want it to be 0, so we don't want it to start coming in yet. So down to 3 seconds on our opacity line, click to make another keyframe there where it's still at 0. Then let's do maybe 4 seconds, see if that's too fast. So at 4 seconds, tap to make another one and set it to 100. Hold on the line and click set all easings to linear. And then let's see how that looks if it comes in too fast at the end there. No, I think that looks nice. It just kind of pops right up. And then after that, we don't just want it to stay the same the whole time. We're going to have them kind of like blur a little bit and then come back in. So to do that, at about 4 seconds, we're going to tap on our main line so we can get our movie button again. Click the movie button, filter, and do Gaussian blur this time. So from 0 to 4 seconds, that's where it set our automatic keyframes. Let's have at 4 seconds, let's have it start kind of blurred. So let's just blur it up to maybe 3 to 4%. Let's do 3. Okay, then let's go down like 2.5 more seconds to 6. Tap to create another Gaussian blur there and set it back to 0. And then down at 9 seconds, let's add another one there where it's back up to 3. Hold on our Gaussian blur and click set all easings to linear just in case they're not. And then let's start at the beginning and see how that looks with our little blurring going on. So they come in kind of blurred and then they get a little sharper and then they blur again. I think that looks great. So nothing too crazy there, but now we can add our shine that goes across our numbers, and then we can add the little twinkles at the end that twinkle on our numbers. Let's first add our shine to our numbers. So this is going to be very fun. We're going to add a clipping mask to each of these numbers. Let's go to our top 2. So again, it's our 3rd numbered layer down. So our top 2, the top left one. Okay, and we are just going to add a track right above it. So click the plus sign and click track. Then right at 4 seconds, we are going to start there and switch to draw mode. For our color, let's select a nice bright goldish, like whitish color. So hold on anywhere in the gold area to get a nice gold color. And then open up our color selector though, and we want a really, really light color. So like I just dragged it all the way to the edge on our circle, and then in between our white and our gold, so we get a nice kind of creamy color. We're still on the soft brush under the airbrushing category. We're going to increase the opacity to 100 and decrease the size to 10. Okay, and we're just going to draw 3 diagonal stripes kind of going along with the diagonals on our numbers that we already have. And we're going to extend them a good ways past the left and right side so that we fully cover our numbers. So on the bottom area here, I'll just start there. I'll draw across, again, off the left edge, diagonal line, go down a good ways past our right edge as well, where that would be. Okay, Then I'm going to go up a little bit, make maybe a lighter line. So same length, going off a good ways on the left and right, but maybe just a little bit lighter so I'm just not pushing as hard. And then a nice thick one. So like thick, like the whole stripe itself is kind of thicker. And then again, going off the left and right side. A good ways like this. Okay, so that's it for our drawing. Looks kind of funny now, but it'll look amazing in a second. So on our little track here with our one frame, hold on it and click fill duration. So it should fill from 4 seconds to the end. Then hold on it and click mask and click clipping mask. So it's set to a clipping mask above R2. So it only shows what's above R2 below it. Hold on it again and click blend mode and set this to overlay. So now you can see we have a nice really brightness added to our 2. So now we're essentially going to drag the brightness from above our 2 to below our 2 so it just flashes across the front. So on our drawing here, before we do anything else, let's just go out of draw mode, tap on it to select it and drag it straight up to where our red, we can't see the whole thing since it's clipped to our 2, but where our red border just goes right above our 2, maybe off the stage even is fine, but lined up on the left and right sides with it so it's kind of centered in the middle. Then on our drawing track here, set our playhead to the beginning, click our movie button, move, and scale. So it sets our first move and scale where this is at the top, and let's say that it takes like 2.5 seconds for it to go down. So at 6.5 seconds, let's tap to create another move and scale keyframe there. Drag it all the way down. That's where we want it. So at the bottom, so it's like just our red border is right under our 2. It doesn't have to be all the way at the bottom of the stage, just right past the bottom of our 2 there. So then if we tap from the beginning and we play it, it goes across like so. Okay, it's a little slow, but I think that's okay. I think that'll look good when they're all going. Now we just need to do the same thing for each one. We're just going to stagger them. So what we can do though is we can copy this one so we don't have to redraw it every time or anything. And we don't even have to reset the keyframe positions. We just need to reset the position on our stage. So let's hold on this layer and click copy. Let's go to our 0, add a track above it, hold on it and click paste. It'll kind of paste wherever. Let's just drag it to where our beginning is a little after the one for our 2. So I just drag down so that I can see my 2 better. I'm going to hold on this and drag it up so it's just a little bit past my 2. So it maybe starts at like 4.25 seconds or something. Leave everything else the same, but then tap into each keyframe and we'll just move it. So we'll tap into our first one and we'll just move it over to the right so it's right above our 0. And then we'll tap into the second one and we'll drag it to the right so it's right below our 0. So then once we play that again, our 2 goes and then our 0 goes right after it. Okay, same thing. Let's hold on this and click copy. Let's go above our next 2. So our top 2, add a track above that. Hold on it and click paste. Again, we'll drag it up to maybe where it starts at like 4.5 seconds, let's say. 4.5 seconds is where it starts. Tap into our first keyframe and we'll move it so where it starts right above our second 2 on the lower level there. And then our second keyframe, tap into that and we'll drag it below our 2 so it's right underneath it, potentially off the bottom of the stage or just right under it there, but again, lined up with our 2. Okay. We'll hold on this and click copy and we'll do the one for the 4 before we play it again. So add a new track right above the 4, hold on it and click paste, drag it to like 4.75 seconds at the beginning, tap into the first keyframe, move it to where it's right above the 4, centered with it a little bit, and then tap the second one, move it to where it's right below the 4, kind of centered with it. And then if we start from, right before our numbers come in here and we click play, we'll see those go across like so. Nice little fun glow. Okay, so then lastly, we just need our twinkles. So let's just go ahead and add those at the very top of everything. So find our group, add a track right above it. Okay, so as our things go off, we'll have our twinkles kind of start So maybe at 6 seconds, we'll have our first twinkle. So right at 6 seconds here, let's switch into our draw again. Let's grab our color. We're going to just do a brighter white. So just open up our color selector and move ours just to the left a little bit on our circle here so we get a brighter white color. Then under our brushes, let's find under the luminance category, the flare brush. Opacity set to 100, size set to like 15. And we will just tap to make a little flare there on the left side. Just right on the edge of our tube. Okay, and it's not just going to pop up, of course, so we're going to do some manipulating to it. So let's hold on this frame where our drawing is and click fill duration again. So we're from 6 to the end. At the beginning, we want it to start invisible and then grow. It's going to grow to a bigger size and then it's going to land at just its normal size. So set our playhead to 6 seconds on this drawing track. Click the movie button, move, move, and scale. Tap into our first keyframe that automatically set itself here and set the scale to 0 for X and for Y. So now it's nothing. Okay, down this line at 8 seconds, let's tap there to create another keyframe. At that point, we're going to set X and Y back to 1. Scale X, scale Y. Okay, so then at there, it grows for 2 seconds and then it stays there till the end of the animation. But let's do maybe like at 7.25 seconds or so. Not quite halfway, a little over halfway. So 7 seconds would be halfway. So maybe a little bit past that. On our move and scale line, let's tap to add another move and scale frame. Tap into it and let's set our scale there to 1.5 for X and for Y. Like so. So then if we start at the beginning of that little area, you'll see it gets bigger and then it gets smaller to its main size. At the same time, we want it to rotate a little bit. So tap into that middle keyframe where we set it to 1.5. Tap on one of the corners and you'll see this little rotate bar pop up. So then if we rotate it a little bit, maybe to the left, let's set it there and then let's play it again and you'll see it kind of rotates in and then comes back down. Okay, so we're just going to do that 4 times or 3 more times to get one for each number. So let's hold on this drawing, click copy, add a new track, hold on it and click paste. And the first thing that we need to do is just move it down the line a little bit. So let's hold on it and let's just move it up half a second. So where it starts at about 6.5 seconds. And then in order to just get our normal flare to start with again, we need to tap on this first keyframe, set our scale back to 1 and 1. And then we can hold on this and click delete, move, and scale. So that's the only way to, right now to get it to let us just have our normal flare back so that we can move it. So let's just tap to select it and let's move it on over to where we want it for our 0. Let's place it maybe on the right side here. Okay, now we just need to do our quick edits again. So with our movie button at the beginning, click on it and click move, and scale. Our first one, let's tap on it and set our scale X and scale Y to 0. So then again, let's go down 2 seconds to like 8.5 on our move and scale line. Tap there to create another keyframe. At that point, we're going to tap it again and set scale X and scale Y to 1. And then again, just move a little bit before that. So, not quite to halfway, but somewhere in between this and halfway. Tap to make another one. Tap into it again. Set our scale X to 1.5 and our scale Y to 1.5. And while we're here, let's just go ahead and rotate it. So tap a corner and rotate it either to the left or to the right, whichever you prefer. And then again, we'll play it. And now that first one goes, the second one goes. Okay. And then we'll do this again. So let's hold on this, click copy, add a new track, hold on it and click paste. Drag it first down to where our beginning starts at 7 seconds roughly. Tap our first keyframe, set our scale Y and X back to 1 so that we can then hold on that and click delete, move, and scale. Again, let's first just set our position. So tap our flare to move it. Let's move it down to this other 2. Maybe I'll have it be on this corner here. Okay, then we'll do all of our other stuff. So movie button, move, move and scale. First one, scale X to 0, scale Y to 0. Down 2 seconds, so at 9, tap to make another one, click on it, scale X to 1, scale Y to 1. Back before it a little bit, tap to make another one, scale X to 1.5, scale Y to 1.5, and tap on it and rotate it a little bit. Okay, and then without, watching it again, let's just do it one more time. So hold on it and click copy, add a new track, hold on it and click paste, drag it down to where our beginning is at like 7.5 seconds. Tap our first move and scale, set it to 1 and 1. Tap on it or hold on it and click delete move and scale. And now we can just move it. So just tap on it and move it to our 4. I'll maybe move it to like this bottom right corner. Okay, movie button, move and scale. Tap the first one, set it to 0 and 0. Tap down to 9.5 seconds. Tap to make another one. Set it to 1 and 1. And then again, just slightly before that a little bit, tap into it, 1.5 and 1.5. And again, tap on it, tap a corner, and rotate it a little bit in a direction. Okay, then if we go right before that, we can see all of our flares together. Boom, 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 all 4 of them. And once that's done, that's the end of our animation. So now we can just tap on it with 4 fingers to play it in our preview screen. And this is again why we set it to loop, so that it would just play over and over again on our preview screen without us having to start it over each time. So that all being said, that's it for the animation today. I hope that you had fun. I hope that you liked the way that yours turned out. I hope that you maybe learned something new. I learned a few new things when making this. I learned about the clipping masks and setting the blending modes. That is really useful. I was looking for a way to do that just like in Procreate. I thought you had to do it on the draw screen, but I like that you can just set each track to clip to another track or blend with another track. So that was a lot of fun to mess around with. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more tutorials from me in the future. Again, I also have extra tutorials over on Patreon, so if you want to check that out, it's linked in the description below. And if you would like to share your animation on Instagram, I would love to see it, so go ahead and post it there and then tag me so that I can check it out. And then while you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching!